WrestleFriends! WrestleFriends podcast!
Hi friends, this is the WrestleFriends podcast with me.
And me. My name is Mark Jago, and I am in the bottom 1%.
Ooh, I'd say you were like maybe bottom 2. I'll give you
Bottom
an extra percent.
2%. I'll be like MJ3? No, it'll be MJ1 because there's no. I'm not like
MJP. That's a scooter brand, isn't it? MGP.
No, it's MJ.
MJP?
MXP.
I've got 2 downstairs.
What's your
happening?
name? You didn't say your name.
Huh?
What, you didn't say your name?
Does no one know who I am
hello,
by now?
hello.
My name's Dave.
There might be a
Yeah,
first-time
what?
listener.
First time listeners are always welcome.
This is the WrestleFriends podcast.
It is. We're all friends here. I'm Dave. I've got a, it's just caught my eye because it's up there. But I got a really cool signed photograph by Rory Coyle with my name on.
It was nice of him.
Oh, that nice. They got a little nice
we do that
touch.
quite often. I got Spike Tree's last t-shirt. I got a signed picture in.
I wonder how much of his day he spends. I don't imagine he gets. Do you think he gets a lot of t-shirt orders? A lot of people had his t-shirts on.
Yeah, I think certainly the North is a lucrative market for the Devil of the North.
I think he must be #1 t-shirt seller at North Wrestling.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, based on what my eyes tell us.
My eyes don't lie.
I like how he's written "Keep Creeping."
Just
something like that.
Keep creeping, Rory Coyle, and then he scribbled out Baz Band's name, who, by the way, I think might be dead.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there.
Before we get into this, though, do you want to what have you done anything outside of wrestling this week that you want to talk about?
So on Sunday, I went to Hartlepool Historic Quay. Hartlepool, and we went on there's a big naval ship there, like restored naval ship from olden days.
I thought you were
that was cool. Now we went to Hartlepool Historic Quay instead.
How long does it take to get to Hartlepool?
40 minutes, Amanda drove.
But it would be longer for me because I live further away.
So I've got a question for you.
Yes.
It's an very old, like British naval ship. But for the purposes of my son, who's 2, I kept this as a pirate ship.
Right.
Do you think the naval officers from olden days would be offended that I called it a pirate ship? Because presumably they would have fought pirates.
Were they there?
They weren't there. There were some people dressed up. There were some people dressed up as them. It's got a very nice cafe where you can look out onto the water. That was cool. And there was people shooting like old cannons and guns and really shooting them.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
There were?
Or was it like...
No, it was actual... Well, no, they didn't shoot the cannonballs. What the shot is, they used like 1/8 of the gunpowder they would normally use, and they shot like a knotted piece of cloth into the marina rather than a cannonball.
That's dedication to showing you things, that.
I had a bit of an affinity. I felt a bit of an affinity with the people because it's like we do a wrestling podcast because we love wrestling and go to wrestling shows and talk about wrestling most of the time. Like they dress up as like old British naval officers in like mad shops and that in a fake street. Like it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? It's like
job to do.
It's like dedication to your hobby and interest, isn't it?
I always wondered like how you get them jobs. You know, when you go to Beamish and stuff like that, and there's guys walking around who like they've basically lived back in time. They live. they
go as if every day they live in the olden days.
When they go to work, they're like Bill and Ted. They just like step in a time machine and then they have to live back in time.
How do you feel about Evil Dead? Bill and Ted 2, 3 coming out.
3. I'm excited for it. I hope it's good.
It's an interesting thing.
It's going to be about them when they're older, and they still haven't made a hit song yet. And obviously, it's their music that saves the world, innit?
I can imagine them, yeah. So, like, at what point do they do it? I can imagine it working them as like older people. I also think they should do a Beavis and Butthead cartoon where Beavis and Butthead are like
older,
like our age.
They done it with Rugrats, didn't they?
Yeah.
They done a Rugrats
All Grown Up.
All
it was
Grown
called.
Up,
But like I think Beavis and Butthead in their 30s, still living in the same house, doing the same shit, would be good. I've also this week watched some more of like some more old horror films. There's one I watched called Blood Rage, which is really good. An Arrow video release where it's two brothers are in a they're like their parents are at a drive-in cinema and they're asleep in the back of the car, and they both get up and wander about, and one of them kills someone with an axe in the face, but then gives his axe to his brother, and his brother looks like he's done it, and then he gets put in like incarcerated, institutionalized
psycho prison.
Yeah, and then psycho prison is the proper term, I believe. And then the other when he like runs away, and like the brother who did the murder is like living like a normal life, and then when the supposed crazy brother gets out of prison, then the brother who's been not in prison goes on like another killing spree, and it's got some really good special effects. There's a good choppy off of hand, like a good choppy off of hand.
I seen a good arm chop off scene yesterday in Vikings, which is quite good.
Yeah, any limb coming off's good.
Yeah, that actually showed the axe going into the arm. It was quite graphic. Such a good program that you should watch it.
I'm gonna eventually. What about yourself?
Well, I've been watching that, people getting their arms chopped off. I've been watching, I went to see the Avengers. So good. It was like I was holding my breath for 2.5 hours.
Right, so I've read Infinity War.
You've read the comic?
I've read the comic from cover to cover.
It's probably completely different though.
So, right. In the comic...
You can't give too many... like, because people...
In the comic I can.
Alright. Okay.
Because people don't care about the comic.
Yeah, okay.
In the comic, Thanos gets the Infinity Gauntlet. And he is omnipotent when he gets it. So, wouldn't there always be a reality where he wins the battle because he's omnipotent and he's had the Infinity Gauntlet?
There's a comic book series where he won.
Right.
He might win yet though, because we haven't seen the end of it.
So they might write it differently for the Marvel Universe. It's mint, the comic.
Because in the
he
film...
takes everyone to space in the comic and just plays with them like puppets.
In the film, Doctor Strange looks at 2 million different endings. Like, he sees 2 million different endings to what happens.
Yeah.
And in only one of them, the Avengers win. So you don't know what's going to happen. It was like a cliffhanger ending.
Right.
So
they're going to be a second part, or...
So it's part 2, with a couple of films in between, I think. Because out in 2019, and I think you're going to get Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and you're going to get another Ant-Man before that. So
in the Infinity War Gauntlet arc in the comics, Galactus is involved, but he's not in this, is he?
No. There's loads of things have changed though, because that's
part of how they show Thanos' power is he like he just plays with Galactus like he's a toy, even though he's like a god himself, and he like plays with eternity and death and that. He just like,
I think Galactus would be a good way to go
in the second one
once they defeat Thanos, because they're bound to defeat him eventually.
Yeah.
And like if they're looking for somebody to, because after they've defeated Thanos, they're obviously going to need a new big baddie, aren't they? Because this has been going on for years now. So they're going to need somebody pretty big who can do things like that, I think.
Yeah.
So I think he might be a good way to go.
Because they did that.
There's loads of that.
This is a completely different podcast, but there's like in the Fantastic Four original movie, Galactus is like a weird cloud rather than the like human embodiment of Galactus.
Sony do a mad thing because they'd done that mental Deadpool thing in Wolverine as well.
Yeah. And
then they brought him back as Deadpool. Such a bad Deadpool
that was
the
bad
first time, wasn't it?
Bad times.
Do you want to talk about some wrestling instead?
Yeah, since that's the podcast about from being on Marvel.
You should go and see it. You should go and see it though, because it's good. But you won't go and see it because you haven't seen the other ones, will you?
I need to catch up, which I never will do.
Nope.
So we went to North Wrestling 10 on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Just gone, so that would have been Saturday, May the 12th.
So good.
And
good things.
Good things. And it I loved it. It was the best one we've been to by a mile.
By far.
It was probably the best level of drunk I've been.
It was a nice level of drunk. Metros was still off, but bit chaotic for me. But I done it in a calming way. I left early this time, and I managed to
Preparation. The early
prepare.
worm catches the worm.
I stressed over it a little bit. I think I'd done Vicky's head in all day because I didn't know whether to get the bus straight to town or get the replacement bus to town. I ended up getting the replacement bus.
So we've got a nice little crew going.
I have Winship.
Devonish.
Yeah.
Newest edition.
And Mark.
Mark B.
We need more though.
We do. We need a sixth because then a round of Red Stripe splits down the middle.
Who's not drinking Red Stripe? There's someone in our group not drinking Red Stripe.
Mark wasn't drinking it this week.
Uh-huh.
He was drinking just different ales.
Right. Did he enjoy
But
the
I feel
ales?
he did. But I feel if I had 6, he would have gone with the majority.
Yeah. We do. We need more people to come.
On North Wrestling Day, I can almost taste the Red Stripe before we even go, because it's just what we drink now.
I hated it at first, but I quite like it now.
It's nice. I would go as far as say it was a premium lager.
And then I went to a pub with my wife not long ago, and they were selling Red Stripe on tap, and I actually chose to drink the Red Stripe over any other beer.
Have you seen the aluminium bottles of Budweiser for the World Cup?
I have,
I'll
yeah.
get some.
And I got like a bottle of Jack Daniels on the cheap, and I think that's because of World Cup as well. When does it start?
Soon.
How
Yeah, I
soon?
looked at it
They've announced
yesterday,
the
June the
thingy today,
something.
haven't they, the team?
Yeah, June this something. Anyway, we're off wrestling.
Sorry.
Okay.
There's lots of things happening though.
But yeah, it was awesome. So it started.
You know another good thing that was good about the Red Stripe before we get into it? The plastic cups that we got, because they look like Street Profit cups.
So yeah, they're the red. They're like they're red like college
Mhm.
drinking cups. So next time I'm genuinely going to bring a Sharpie so we can write SP on them and show people when we're drunk, because that'd be awesome.
Because that's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
And I think we should keep them.
that's what we'll do, and we can like give them to them next time and say fill her up, please.
Okay.
So it started out. First match was Shreddy Breck versus Gavin Lewis. So Shreddy Breck won with with Gavin with Big Lou Nixon, his partner in England's Hottest Men, kicking Gavin Lewis.
Shenanigans, wasn't it?
And then Shreddy Breck
Bit
getting the
Healy.
pin. So
Was
this
it
is
Healy?
my point, right? We had this argument: who's the heel? So Lou Nixon's like, we need to get serious. We need to like, sort of win these matches. We need to not be dicking around with the crowd. Shreddy Breck's still running around, dicking around, saying these like catchphrases and stuff. Who's the heel? Because I thought Lou Nixon was the heel, and you thought Shreddy Breck was the heel.
Yeah, because off promos and stuff like that, he's coming across as a bit of a turd.
But I think Lou Nixon's going like, we need to get serious about this, and like Shreddy Breck's just ignoring him,
But
and then still wandering around as if he's like amazing.
But then I still
And
think
then
it's going to be Shreddy Breck.
And then that thing happened later on that we'll talk about that makes him Shreddy Breck seem even more heel.
And everyone was shouting bad things at him.
Yeah. So he's going to end up being.
I don't want to see either of them split up.
No.
I think at the minute, they'll probably be my favourite thing in wrestling.
I started off the first show I went to, and then this second one I went to, which you came to, your first one. They were like, it was like happy-go-lucky, like there was the balloons and they were jumping about, and like they were both like having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's just ended, and it's making me feel sad.
I like it, and I like that he came to the ring and they were like filming it and stuff like that, and I watched it the next day.
Yeah, they did Facebook Live.
Did you watch it on Facebook Live?
I haven't watched it, no.
And it's just good fun, and they're not doing that anymore. No fun.
No fun, nah. But yeah, it's like,
I want them to stay together.
How can you see a way of them doing it where they're like, they stay together? Like, how can they get back to the point where it's like fun times again?
Friendly competition.
Friendly, is that what you like
friendly,
to say?
it's the only way they're doing it now.
But that promo before the match wasn't friendly.
Nah.
Where he was like,
and have you got them on Twitter?
They've been bickering,
going at each other on
Facebook
Twitter
and Twitter. Yeah.
So I think it might possibly be gonna happen.
So then
there's not many like tag teams though, is there?
No, but you can always put two people together in the way that we dislike. So then Screwface came out, and this is I've never seen this way of challenging someone before. So Lou Nixon did the kick, and then Shreddy Breck pinned Gavin Lewis, and then that was the end of the match. And then they bickered in the ring, and then Screwface music hit, and he came out, and he just basically like got some wrist tape, unfurled some, and threw it at Lou Nixon. I thought that was a really good way to challenge someone with no
and they do that really
like
well.
Tape up and ready to go type thing. A really good way of challenging someone without using verbiage,
words. I think that's what North do it really well as well, where they get these little storylines going like throughout and out. Cause obviously, not everyone goes to every single one like we do now.
There's 2 months between them, so
so they've got these little like they have that little story for the night, and that I thought that was good.
It was. I really like Screwface.
Aye,
so we'll do all of England's Hardest Men together. So if you jump forward a few matches, Screwface wrestles Lou Nixon. That was my, apart from the tag team death match, that was my favourite match of the night. I thought it was really like aggressive.
Yeah,
and
I like Lou Nixon. He's my favourite out of England's Hardest Men, and he's nice to talk to, and I think that's probably why. Because like, unlike No Fun Stupid Done,
we'll get into that.
Who's not nice to me. Seems like he's nice to everyone else, but not me.
That was funny. So they had a really like intense match. It kind of the antithesis of what Shreddy Breck is. Like Lou Nixon just like straight out, like straight into it, like slapped Screwface, and they had like a good kind of striking exchange. So then towards the end of the match, Shreddy Breck gets throws the distracts the ref, and Screwface does spits the green mist in Lou's face, which I like. I love that old like Japanese great move. I love it if he keeps using that. Spits that in Lou Nixon's face, and then puts him in the choke. And Shreddy Breck throws in the towel before he taps. So that adds. That's heelish of Shreddy Breck.
I think he's
towards his partner.
I think Lou Nixon's more of the everyday type guy. You know, like the every man.
Yeah.
Like you can relate to him more.
So I think I've just like talked myself out my own argument.
It could go either way, to be fair, because Shreddy Breck's
they could be like they could get on the same page and both become heels.
They could be. I would like to see tag belts.
Yeah.
I know that's a big ask.
I would give Rory Coyle or whoever becomes the champion after him like 3 or 4 defenses, and then like maybe early 2019 they could introduce tag belts.
Hopefully.
I've somebody put something on the fan page on Facebook that I found quite interesting. It was like, you know, the Riverside's a fantastic venue and it feels like home now because of all these great shows that you're putting on, and I hope you don't leave. You know, and
that was Brett, wasn't it?
Andrew, it was Brett,
sure
and then
Brett,
Andrew Bowers, the owner, put on like, it's like our spiritual home, and we'll not be leaving for a long time yet. But he's got to have ambitions at some point of.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Of having a bigger show. So I've never really thought about that, but that's interesting.
But did you not think the last one was like he must be worried because of leaving there, because obviously something will happen on telly that'll keep people from going, like for example the Eurovision was on and I done a whole thing about how
it was still a packed house even though there was a lot of people who might have.
I thought it was interesting someone cut a promo in the middle of the ring slagging off people who slag off wrestling because then they're sat in the house watching Eurovision or they're watching X Factor or whatever.
Yeah.
But they also said that half the wrestlers that we were seeing tonight are going to be part of World of Sport Wrestling that's coming back soon.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see
Aeroplane.
Who do you think the likes of HT Drake, and that could be part of it.
Chris Brooks hasn't wrestled there.
I know because El Ligero was on the last one. Like, well, you know, the pilot that they've done, and so was what's his face, Defiant Champion.
New one, Rampage,
and people like that. They were all part of it. I'd love to see HT Drake on it.
Yeah, it's a huge possibility.
Roxy.
Yeah, no, it's a huge possibility. Don't see why not. So next was HT Drake versus Alanda Gentry. So Alanda Gentry are like Spike Trivier's little like lucky boys. And
I didn't understand what was going on here.
So they paid off. They were meant to choose somebody, but obviously because they're posh rich boys, they paid off Jumping John Myers, the ref, to allow it to be a handicap match, and then Drake still beat them quite easily.
I thought Drake looked really good in this match.
He did.
Like really good. And if I was gonna put someone up like as number one contender, I would have him.
just based on how long he's been there. And
But I'd have to heal him up. But you know how he's heel.
well, we've talked about this before, and the more I think about it, it's massively messy.
It's confusing, isn't it?
And there was a podcast I've listened to recently where they were talking about how in the olden days that just wouldn't fly. You were either
You're either a heel or you're a...
particularly in the same city.
They're doing the same with Jericho, though.
That's in a completely different market, though. This is the same city.
Everyone knows Jericho, though.
Yeah.
So when he goes to WWE, he's the comical heel, like face, and then he goes to Japan and he's a badass heel who hasn't got a list and stuff like that. But you're right. I think he should be a heel as well. He's a good heel.
HT.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I particularly like in Defiant that we didn't talk about when we did the episode when we talked about when we went to Defiant, where he attacked somebody after they threw him out and absolutely killed them, but I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember who it was.
But it was a vicious beatdown.
But then people are always going to cheer for him if he does mad things like jumping off the balcony and stuff like that, which he did at the last one.
He's forever a face in North. Always been a face the last 10 shows. I think he's the only ever present, if I'm right.
I hope he gets a title shot one time.
I'm sure he will. So next was Little Miss Roxy versus Chris Wolf. Chris Wolf is on a British tour at the moment.
I thought she was really cool.
She is. She's so in Japan they don't really have so New Japan doesn't have a women's division. They have women's wrestling and guys wrestling, which in a lot of ways particularly in the 90s, women's wrestling was more popular. They didn't Wrestle Kingdom sized shows in the 90s, just the women promotions. So she wrestles for Stardom, I think, in Japan, which is the big women's fed. But full of charisma, massive
she was
smile,
full on mental, and I got a photo took with that, and it's on Facebook, and people might have seen it, where she's trying to eat me head. She was
the wolf,
really nice. She was dead canny.
But she really she seemed like she was just enjoying life. Did some crazy dives, seemed really good in the ring, really smooth. I thought her and Roxy had a great match, and Roxy got the pin,
and that was and she's another one I would like to see on World of Sport because just exposure and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a great match. Do you think if they get onto World of Sport Wrestling though, they'll not come back at all?
Nah, they'll have it.
Always come back.
The contract will not be like that because it'll only be so many days out of the month. They'll record it like NXT.
It's like a 10 episode series. It's not going to be forever.
And they'll do quite a lot of them at the same time, like NXT do. Who were on Little Miss Roxy? Yeah, so seeing someone like Chris Wolf is really cool because we'll probably never see her again. No, she'll probably not do a British tour again.
She's the type of character that would end up on NXT
eventually.
Yeah.
The last two big Japanese wrestlers have already been signed, so there's no reason why not.
But I really I thought she was good for a man who normally goes for a wee when they're on. I probably did because I've got a tiny bladder.
But it's tantamount to how engaging of a character she was. And that was the belt that she had. She had the Stardom belt, so she's obviously their champion. I looked it up.
Oh, right, because I didn't know what that was.
I think when you asked us at the time, I just said it's nice and purple.
It's a green one, a purple one,
So next was probably the match of the night for me, and was an absolute tornado. Clint Margera and Drew Parker defeated Chris Renfrew and Jack Jester in a crazy brawl.
So it wasn't quite a death match, but it was definitely hardcore.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got some really good photos of it. If you weren't there, you should have a look at the Facebook page because I've put them on.
I would go as far to say they were the photography by you was fantastic.
I've got some good snaps, and I haven't even put them all on. I need to sit down and go through them all because I'm going to put some more on.
But there was a fantastic table spot. There was barbed wire covered pans. There was people being busted open and smearing that blood all over white vans outside. There was thumbtack covered chairs,
barbed wire chairs.
There was a roll of chicken wire at one
mesh,
point,
wasn't there?
Yeah.
And them corkscrew things, them big corkscrew things.
Yeah. So, some of the stiffest chair shots I've ever heard. Proper bone rattling. chair shots.
And really stand-up chaps and all, because we got a nice photo with him at the end.
So obviously I because I'm a deathmatch kind of guy, like I follow like Clint Margera and Drew Parker quite closely. So Clint Margera wrestled at TOD last year, Drew Parker's wrestling this year at TOD.
Maybe I need to start watching this madness. I haven't seen much of it.
But yeah, and they always say the deathmatch guys are the nicest.
They seem nice.
But yeah, they were dead cool.
I would regret, because we took the microphone out, didn't we? For like a test run, and I regret not having it with us when I went and spoke to them, because I think they might have spoke to us.
So,
but then you know what we need to have, right? This is what we need for next time. We need a clear cut list of at least 3 questions in our head that we're going to ask these people.
Well, I was going to bring that, but I forgot it.
But what we need to do is we just need to know these 3 questions in our head that we can just reel off to them every single time.
Yeah, we're a little bit unprepared, but it's the same as anything. It's like, so I bought a field mic, and we used it a couple of times, and I think the results were quite good.
Yeah.
And we're obviously going to do it again. So I got the idea from, so like any other great idea, I stole it. Cole Cabana's completely changed the art of wrestling. Yeah, so it's not like he does one interview with one wrestler and then releases it. As he's wandering around on all these indie bookings and stuff, he just has little 2-minute chats with everybody and then puts it together as a podcast. So I thought, oh, it's a good idea.
I'm going to do that.
I'm going to steal that idea. So yeah, so I had obviously bought this little field mic, been playing with it. The results were quite good.
You're putting them on this, aren't you?
So
putting them on this?
So I had a chat with a girl called Courtney outside, mainly about wrestlers' pants. But
this all started because of Glenda.
Yeah. So we're going to insert the conversation with Courtney here.
Press play. It's recording. It's happening right now. This is happening right now. So this is WrestleFriends on location, right? At North Wrestling, right? What's your name? Where do you come from?
Courtney and Sunderland.
What?
My name's Courtney and I'm from Sunderland.
And you love Jeff Hardy, don't you?
Yeah.
See, I remember that, didn't I? Right?
T-shirt on.
Do you like my Rory Card t-shirt?
Obviously, yes.
I got it, right? But, right, what we were talking about work the other day, right? We were talking about wrestlers' trousers.
Right.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer a wrestler in, like, kegs? A wrestler in jeggings, for example, Dean Ambrose, or a wrestler in chaps, for example, Shawn Michaels, or what's your favourite duds, basically?
Favourite duds?
Yeah.
Not shreddies duds.
What about Shreddy Brex duds?
No.
You wouldn't have a tight pant?
I'm not fan of a tight pant, no.
Well, Triple H, yeah, tight pants, he's a fucking cool guy, isn't he? He's like, my favourite wrestler ever was Triple H, so he like had every type of pants, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Sorry, man.
Thank you.
Continue.
What is your worst pant?
My worst pants ever.
Not yours personally. Wrestling choice of pant.
Probably no fun done because I fucking hate him.
He's got credentials. Dave, he's got credentials.
I hate him. He's backed us once when I asked for a photograph with him and he fucking didn't really like us very much.
He's got credentials. Does he have all of the qualifications as well?
All of them?
All of them. So, I'm a bigger fan of the street look. The streetwear, that's probably just Jeff Hardy mark. I love a
jean. You prefer Jeff Hardy, right? You know Jeff Hardy?
Not personally, but yeah.
But you do kind of, because you've seen it once, didn't you?
Seen him again on Thursday.
I'm not going because
I am, you're not.
Yeah.
Hang on, Dave's not going to see Daniel Bryan and I am. Continue.
I chose not to.
You made the wrong choice.
No, fuck that, man. I've got other things to do. You know, like
We haven't.
I have. What was I talking about? Pants. Right, pants. Right. No, Jeff Hardy. Face paint or non-face paint?
Face paint back in 2002. No face paint now.
TNA face paint.
No face paint. But when he did the whole
alcoholic falling over in a match with Sting.
Neon face paint, yes. The whole face paint now gimmick, not a huge fan.
Because he wears it on his neck now, doesn't he? He does. Why is he not doing it on TV?
We're not going to talk about pants. How about best face paint?
Sting.
Ooh. Ballas as well.
Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Sting.
Finn Balor. Well, Demon.
I don't like Demon, Finn Balor. I like Finn in his kegs, that's why.
You are a keg man. You really are.
I like kegs in a leather jacket. I was stuck at home.
Any location around here that you would love.
I know. I should go to them places. But I've been to them places actually. It's a bit of a fucking odd night actually, but we'll not go into that.
Story for another time.
We'll get into kegs again, right? Because you still haven't answered this.
This episode's going to be keg heavy. Because we've got another interview that involves kegs.
Who's favourite kegs?
Can I just break this party up here?
Okay, yeah.
Right, so 2 questions. What's your favourite thing happening in WWE right now?
Fuck that, kegs.
Fuck the kegs.
Favourite thing?
Daniel Bryan.
Yes, actually.
I answered that one for her.
Yes.
Came back. It was a miracle.
He came back. It was a miracle.
It makes me feel happy when I see him.
I don't see him because I'm not good.
No, but like, you see him on telly. What's your favourite thing happening in like the indie landscape right now?
I'm pretty new to it, and it's my 3rd North show, and I don't know, like I'm Amir Jordan all the way, absolutely adore him.
Sons of Ulid.
Sons of Ulid, yes. I don't know, like I'm pretty new to it, but for now, Amir Jordan all the way. Absolutely adore him, and yeah, so 3rd show, I'll become the 4th.
Do you go to Defiant shows?
Not yet, my friend's trying to drag it, but
Come to the next Defiant show. We'll all get together and have a good old time and drink beer and stuff.
I'm fine with that, I'm game.
Hey! Let's do that.
Thanks very much for talking to us.
No problem, it's Dina.
Wait, hang on.
You still haven't answered the keg question?
Alright, okay.
We'll get down to brass tacks.
One minute, can I just say, you're the host, you're the one losing control of the show.
You?
I'm a listener, there's never control.
There's never
Tony Winship. Chiming in.
The man who never speaks.
Okay, so
I've had a drink.
the options are kegs, chaps,
Pants.
George Jeggins. Spike Trevor wrestles in a full suit.
Ooh, I just had
Could consider that.
Just thinking about Jeggins.
He's always my favourite guy. Gotta have it.
go stand in the corner and think about your
I can't stand in the corner. I've got the microphone.
I'll stand in the corner and he's going to think about men in pants.
That's your job.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm a fan of a jean, so a jean jeggin.
Dean Ambrose.
A jeggin.
A jeggin, I'm a fan
Like
of a jeggin.
non-traditional wrestler wear. Like full clothes. You could wear it on the street, maybe.
And I'm not both.
It's like even like Sandman. He wrestled.
Sandman.
How is he able to move in them?
Alcohol.
All alcohol.
Because he's like slithering.
Sometimes it's nice when you don't speak.
Like a fucking jellyfish with jeans on. Fucking hell, it's just got Slytherin socks on. There's a tenuous link. Should we end it on that?
I think we should. It's as good as it's going to get. It's peaked.
What's your name?
My name's Courtney.
Nice to meet you, Courtney.
Nice to meet you.
This is a WrestleFriends podcast signing off. Tony Winship, before we go, have you got anything to say?
No, he doesn't.
How about I throw a keg issue in?
I would like to know your keg information.
Yokozuna.
Oh.
What's it called when they wear the traditional Japanese sumo nappies?
Japanese nappy. I have no idea.
Did you see the guy who was meant to be Yokozuna? That was fucking brilliant. What's your name?
No thanks.
Signing off from No Thanks, laters.
Edit that out.
That was a good conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah, and did you get the bit where Winship spoke?
Yeah, so Tony piped up because
the one that doesn't speak spoke.
Hi Tony. It was good. So so that's how that's gonna go. We're gonna hopefully when we release podcast, pop a few of them in.
Yeah, pop them right in there.
And I think it gives a good round out of the atmosphere of being at the show. And obviously when we're doing this, we're not drunk, but most of the time when we're using the microphone, we will be.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. So absolutely amazing death match. Probably
death match.
Not like hardcore. I think that's how you were further in. You enjoyed it a bit more because it wasn't like ridiculous.
There was some proper wrestling going on as well. There was you know what I mean, Yeah.
It was a nice mixture.
Uh-huh.
But I think a lot of people there probably hadn't seen anything like that before, and you could really tell that by the reaction.
I think Tony said to us at one point that it was the best thing he'd seen since going and all. He's only been 2.
But I think
still though, it's good.
But that kind of wrestling still has impact.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you can understand how it would lose its gravitas if there was a whole show of that, but because it was just like
I think NXT should bring them back.
Like a proper hardcore division. Yeah,
they could get away with it.
I can see how it would work.
I think they could get away with it. I wouldn't want to see a full show on it, as suggested by someone before. I just wouldn't want to see a full show of it.
Yeah,
because it would lose its like.
We had a friend who said that they should have a hardcore show where the hardcore they have like an NXT size arena where it's just the hardcore title. That's a bit too much, but they could have bits and pieces.
It would probably lose its appeal if it was just match after match of people hitting each other with stuff. But like every couple of months now and again, it's special. I like it.
Special.
What
was next? Just log on to my phone. So Amir Jordan versus Chris Brooks.
Always good for a dance.
So because I think England's Hardest Men are going through the storyline, all of the funny fun funds is directed at Amir Jordan, who is a fantastic wrestler, but like the dancing thing's not really for us, is it?
We'll say that, but we were probably the 2 people dancing more than
really
anyone
drunk
in the whole place.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Great to see Chris Brooks in this kind of small setting, because he's probably
too tall.
He's probably you don't like long slender men, do you?
It's too tall. He's too tall.
He's known
like that cup you had for in thingy.
He's known as the best smelling man in independent wrestling as well.
Really? I would like to sniff him to find out.
Yeah, we should next time he's around. We should give him a sniff.
Give him a good old sniff up the hooter. But he's too tall to be a wrestler.
You don't like long and thin, do you?
He either needs to put some weight on or shrink.
You sound like Vince.
Shit.
You need to get in the gym.
Hey, you need to put some weight on.
You need to eat some steaks.
Or I'm gonna chop your legs off.
But great wrestler, too thin and tall, in Dave's eyes.
Had a dance.
And you know what? You don't like that he has the weird shoulder pad.
I don't like that either. What is it? Is
I don't
that?
know. It's just part of his gimmick.
I don't like it.
So I was safe to say that you're not a Chris Brooks fan.
I don't dislike him. I just think he's too long, and has a funny thing on his arm.
There's a match you should watch that he did in Progress with TK Cooper, which is like a serious
I can't
contest.
watch Progress ever. I can't watch it because you've got to pay for it. Why don't Progress, right? And here's a thought, right? Why don't Progress, because they do a lot of work with WWE at Access Weekend, why don't they just like sort of like bump uglies together and like make little babies where they can have like a Progress TV show on the network?
I think eventually WWE is going to make that deal with a indie company.
I think that would be
Progress basically is.
They would get for it would be like
most of the guys who wrestle for Progress end up on NXT
or 205 Live, which we've seen this week.
So, but I think eventually one of the British companies, because ICW have done stuff with them through Finn Balor and stuff before.
Yeah.
And other people. And like Wolfgang and people like that.
Do you think the 205 Live stuff that happened this week, do you think that's a permanent thing or just because they weren't in the UK?
There's got to be some... Right, so this UK show isn't going to... It's either going to get the bump towards getting completed because obviously ITV have okayed World of Sport.
Uh-huh.
Or you're going to get like a cross-promotional thing like Auto. I think there's something coming. And I think the way that WWE works with indie companies now, you're eventually going to get like Progresses on randomly.
Triple H, innit?
Randomly, Global Force Wrestling was being like the Impact was being advertised on the network the other day.
Yeah, that was because WWE used footage on Table for 3 of AJ versus Angle.
Like all these things are pointing to something like that happening eventually.
I think to be like the WWE, it could be like a wrestling network sort of thing rather than just a WWE network, and more people would probably buy into it.
I don't think it'll be like an...
As long as they don't put the prices up.
I think they'll just choose one. I think it'll be like one feeder territory.
Yeah.
Because the WWE UK actual show hasn't worked out, but remains to be seen. Tangent.
A lot of that UK show that they're doing as well is bringing a lot of NXT guys in, so I don't think they'll do a full UK show like.
No, well, you've got like on the Royal Albert Hall one, you're gonna have like the Undisputed Era.
Yep.
As of against
That's like main event,
I guess against British Strong Style. You're gonna have more NXT guys. Ricochet's gonna be on it. Probably Aleister Black will probably be on it. Like, well, Aleister Black wrestled at the last one when he was still Tommy.
Yeah,
End.
it was his first match, wasn't it? Against Neville.
He hadn't had it.
Oh my Neville.
He obviously had poor Neville. He obviously hadn't had any kind of work with Triple H to just signed him and said, "Can you go to this?" Because you were still Tommy End at the time, I believe.
Because you're European.
Because you are from Holland.
Yeah.
That was Dutch movies. So yeah, Amir Jordan won. So they did the whole Amir Jordan like loses everything. Then he beat Nathan Cruz on the last one. Now he's beat Chris Brooks. Are they going to build towards him as a potential title contender?
No. Face versus face. We need to find a badass heel.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to find a badass heel.
I think that's Screwface
Your mate.
Face eventually.
Your mate. What's his face? Tory boy.
Spike.
Yeah.
They'd have to book him consistently, like.
I know, but who else have you got consistent heel in North?
If Spike does 2 shows where he gets 2 big wins, and the Land of Gentry help him, obviously, that could work. But at the minute, like,
I don't know how I feel about what is actually going to happen, because next North, we'll probably talk about this later. Do you want to go on the next match?
So we did Screwface, Lunix, and we already talked about that because we did England's Hardest Men as a. Here's a question. I really want an England's Hardest Men t-shirt, but I'm holding off because I want to see what happens.
Right, I want an England's Hardest Men t-shirt, but I don't suit red and I don't suit yellow. But you can get a black one, right? But they don't sell the black ones at the show. Yeah. And I also don't want to buy yet another t-shirt where the team split up, because I've now got a Kenny Omega one that is probably of no use, and I'm still going to wear it. And I've also got a Sons of Ulade one. That ain't a thing neither.
I think the Sons of Ulade is. I hope that there's going to be a payoff to that.
Is Baz Batton not dead though?
He's not dead. He let him free because he killed someone. And Rory Kyle had to like dispose of the body.
Was it not a George and Lenny sort of thing? Where
it was a George and Lenny, but he didn't. I think he set him free, or maybe it was like, "I've set you free," and it was like just poetic speak for like,
"Kill you."
I've got rid of you. But yeah, it showed like Rory Kyle getting rid of the body
out. I started thinking that the body might have been Baz Batton.
Interesting.
Just a thought.
But I hope there's a payoff, is what I'm saying. I hope it continues. But I love Rory Kyle, so it doesn't matter.
I love him. He's one of my favourite. Him and Lou Nixon are my 2 favourite.
So, to tie into that, there was Rory Kyle versus Chief Deputy Dunn. I thought it was a tight match, good match. There wasn't too much pissing around.
Good.
Because they had already done a promo earlier on.
They'd done that promo earlier on, and he said that he'd been compared to Mick Foley before. Now, I'd never ever got that. I've never compared him to Mick Foley before, but then when he was sitting in the corner of the ring and stuff like that, I started thinking, yeah, Mick Foley. And also, and he never even mentioned this, the person I would have compared him most to is Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, like a mixture of the two. He is like, I mean, we're big fans, and I hope he has great success in like.
I hope he has great success, and my signed photo up there becomes worth lots of money to me.
Because he's famous in North Wrestling, but I think he's just started getting booked.
Started getting out on the indies, hasn't
he? So that was a great match. He returned. When he returned, they showed lots of footage from Japan, and then it turned out it was Session Martina, who has been wrestling for Stardom, where Chris Wolf wrestles in Japan. Now she's like an Irish, like Chava basically is her character.
Right.
And she drinks and dances and
on the session moth. So I don't know how I feel about this.
So when Rory Kyle tweeted about it, he said, "Oh, we're going to kill the business together." So it makes us think it's going to be silly.
Right.
So I think you can have your Session Moth Martina because although I'm not a big fan, I think the people really want it because she was huge. She was really popular when Brett Devenish was really excited about it. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but like people are gonna be happy about it. And I think after that, if he retains, that's when you try and start a program with somebody.
Yeah. Who would you pick?
Well, I'd always pick Spike, like you said. HT Drake, maybe. I think Rory Kyle's a kind of character that, like, I think
he could heal, couldn't he?
I think HT Drake could get the crowd to cheer for him against Rory Kyle. Amir Jordan because he's now on a winning streak. Chief Deputy Dunn's
Done.
That's done. And I think it was a good storytelling because obviously Chief Deputy Dunn was never beaten in the scramble match. So now that they've done that, he can't say. But it's going to be interesting.
Oh, definitely. There's always the chance of people coming back like El Ligero and people like that as well.
I think the next show, we had Chris Brooks. I think the next show will be another like big name indie guy that. Because they always have somebody new on every show that we've not seen.
You might get who was meant to be there last time? Mikey Whiplash.
Yeah.
What's he called? Mikey
Whiplash. He's got to think, I missed any opportunity. He might
so
come
he's bound to crop up at some point. You would have thought.
Yeah. But yeah.
So it's just getting better though. Every time we go, every single one has gotten a little bit better.
I wonder if they'll ever run every month, and whether it become cost effective.
I hope not, because the ticket prices are going up, and I'll probably not be able to go to every single one.
I completely support them.
I support
you know what?
it.
It's the cheapest show that I go to at £10 at the moment.
100% support it, and
you're still cheaper than a Defiant ticket at $12.50.
I'm more than happy to pay because my favourite one. Definitely, and paying that little bit extra is going to make it better, even more better again. And they are getting better every single time. And I'm sure the price of these indie wrestlers is probably going up.
Because they put that hardcore match on, and you've got to think he might have had to take out extra insurance for that.
Props. You would have had to get the stuff together.
And they it was a strange interval, wasn't it? Because it was later on, because they needed time after that match to clear up.
Sort out. But yeah. And I think
but he works hard. You can see him running about. He was stressed a lot of the time.
I'd love to get a word with him at some point if he ever does listen to this podcast.
But I always find it I would like to approach him for a word when we're there, but he seems so busy all the time.
Busy, isn't he? And I'd love to talk to him about how it got started and stuff like that. I would love to have a word with him. Maybe he will one day. Brett Devonish knows him.
You're the hookup.
You're the man. You're the man.
So
I also have mutual friends. My ex-boss, Marilyn, whose husband Joe was at one of the events. They know him as well, so she shared me photos with him on Facebook, tagged him in them, so that was nice.
Hookups.
He's down to know who we are. He's bound to know who WrestleFriends podcasts are now because we're cropping up
just because we keep bashing our names out there.
Oh, yeah.
So I finally got my North Wrestling t-shirt as well, which is nice. It's been out of stock for ages.
I want one.
So I've got that. I'd like them to do a reprint of the yellow one as well, so I can support them even further.
That was the best one, that, and they kind of get it.
You might do another print of it eventually.
I had a nice couple of photos with Roxy and Drake as well. It was nice to get a photo with both of them.
And just to interrupt, so Tony approached Chief Deputy Dunn. Everybody who's listening to this podcast will have heard Dave's story about Chief Deputy Dunn and the photograph. And apparently he was the nicest guy ever, according to Tony. We were outside, weren't we?
Yeah, and I would just like to point out how much Double C is over in North Wrestling right now. I think that Double C should be a thing. I'd love to see someone with a Double C sign at North. That would really piss you off, wouldn't it?
It would. It would. Or you can talk one of your minions.
There's people. Can we cut to the people chanting my name right now? Double C.
We can cut to it.
How the next step, right, is if anyone listens to this podcast, I want to see Double C sign at North Wrestling or any wrestling event. That would be good.
Like Gabbo, what is
remember
Double
when
C?
Soccer AM done Save Chip?
Yeah.
I want to see Double C at every single wrestling show. Double C, get it out there. Double C.
Get Double C out there. Maybe.
Let's get Double C over.
So North Wrestling. If you've never been, go.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Well worth the money that you'll spend on it. What else you want to talk about?
So got back in NXT this week.
I caught up.
So from Takeover and now you caught up.
Uh-huh.
So I've just
only missing one match. I haven't watched the Cassius Ohno.
Champa.
Yeah, that's the only match I haven't seen.
That's quite impressive. I've just watched the last one.
I wouldn't say I was giving it my full attention. I had it on in the background whilst I was doing my job and stuff.
That's all you
Jobs.
need. That's all you need.
Jobs.
So let's go into it. NXT 448 was the last one. I bet you've missed this.
Oh, totally.
May the 9th.
Mhm.
So we'll have another one tomorrow.
Right.
So
have you missed loads?
I've just left them behind. But this is what's good about NXT. I watched this one and I feel I'm up to date with anything.
Right. Okay.
Because a lot of the mini promos kind of tie up any loose ends in your head. So
Obviously
Ricochet,
not as big a fan as I am.
probably not now. Ricochet came out to start it off looking
with no socks on. That annoyed us.
The last guy who did that was Hitami.
I know, and you liked it.
I like it. I do like it.
I don't like it.
I've got actually written down here. He looked quite dapper coming out.
I did like that he acknowledged that someone in the crowd said something about the fact he had no socks on.
No, it wasn't me socks.
And he acknowledged it.
Do you think I could rock a red blazer, blue pants, and black loafers with no socks?
I think you should try one time. I think it'd be funny.
Well, I'll
You
try
should wear it in North next time.
I'll try it the next, and I'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'll be like, "Dressed like Ricochet."
Yeah,
Obviously. I thought he was.
I think Winship should do it.
Oh, you'd be the best.
I think Winship should come out next time when we go north.
Dressed as Ricochet.
Or just wear no socks.
Yeah, it's the no socks that are the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if I'm comparing no socks guys, I think Itami look cooler.
Yeah. You know what I don't like about Ricochet? I'm not going to say what I don't like about him because it's not nice.
It's not nice.
Well, it's not nice, but some people might think
Is it offensive?
Probably just a Ricochet, but...
I think you should say it in case people think it's a different thing.
No, it's not. It's nothing bad. It's just, like, I don't want to be nasty about wrestlers because...
Alright.
I like Ricochet.
Just tell us later.
It's just an awkward looking character to have wearing no socks.
I don't know
Maybe
what you
I
mean.
just don't like people
I don't
that
know
don't.
what you mean.
I don't like people that don't wear socks. Basically,
Right.
wear socks with shoes. You'll get a blister.
You will. It's dangerous if anything.
You'll get a nasty blister.
Obviously, fantastic high flying wrestler. I didn't think he was great on the mic.
Yeah,
personally.
that's what I'm saying. It was awkward, wasn't it?
I think Velveteen came out and trounced him. Trounced him
Trounced him.
on the mic.
Yeah, well, he's good, isn't he?
So they
lot of work to be done there, isn't there?
they had a lot with Ricochet, and I
Yeah.
think they see him as a top guy as well. So I think they're going to do that.
I
Work.
think the Rock said something about
If The Rock
being a
endorsed
top
you,
guy.
there's got to have been conversations that
Yeah.
happen. So they had a brief verbiage. They're going to wrestle at Takeover.
That's
The
gonna
next
be
Takeover. That's going to be awesome. That could be the
When
show
is that?
stealer. I don't know. I saw
Is it before Money in the Bank?
after, I think.
Is it? So you're
Maybe
looking
not.
at SummerSlam. That's ages
No,
away.
it must be soon.
It must be Money in the
But
Bank.
there's a few of the matches I haven't got them written down. But like, so the main event, Lars Black. As far as I can see, they've done no build to that yet.
Not yet.
So it
because
must be a little while.
from where I was watching it, Black was fighting someone. Ciampa, he called out, didn't he?
Yeah,
Ciampa.
Ciampa's called him out.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. It remains to be seen. But yeah, that'll be match. That match will be amazing.
Did you see the bit where Ciampa had, like, destroyed Gargano and then he was stood on top of the truck?
I've seen that like YouTube of it. I haven't seen
It
the full
was
one.
so funny. It was good.
I am in the top 1%. What, you're making of EC3? So he quickly beat Raul Mendoza.
Poor Raul Mendoza. He just gets beat all the time.
He's just the new No Way Jose, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
He was in the Cruiserweight Classic.
I like AC3.
That's the guy who can do a promo.
He reminds us of The Rock. He reminds us of The Rock. Don't know why.
I like the whole.
You know when he turns around like that, I was expecting to do the people's eyebrow.
I like how when he comes out and his music's playing, which is awesome. Like horrible music, but it's awesome for the character.
Yeah.
I like how like EC3 comes up and he like points
at it.
In like sequentially. It's like kind of the replacement for Bobby Roode, and that's what we were saying before. They didn't really replace that kind of Ric Flair, kind of classic champion type.
Yeah.
Somebody who wears socks with their loafers.
Yeah, you've got to wear socks. I'm a big fan of EC3.
Definitely would wear socks.
He's a sock man, and also I like him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they
Do
do.
you know
with
what I
him.
think's messy though, and I think we've talked about this before?
What?
Ethan Carter III is what EC3 stands for.
Uh-huh.
They made no reference to why it's EC3.
Yeah, he's not. He's just EC3, isn't he? It's like
That's
Triple
fine.
H just used
But
to be Triple H.
Quickly
Well,
squash Raul Mendoza. I liked his he does like a spinny neck breaker type thing for his finisher. I liked it.
what's it called?
don't think it's got a name yet. That's why. But I think with all this other stuff going on, he's getting he's gonna get wins, but he's not, because I don't think he's on the card for Takeover.
Adam Cole's not neither.
Adam Cole will be on because he'll be hanging around
With a tag team match. Who are they fighting again? It's
Birch and
Lorcan, innit?
yeah, it's only Morgan's finest hour. I'm quite looking forward to it, actually.
It'll be brutal, that.
Yeah, him and Danny Birch don't pull punches. So next was Dakota Kai versus Vanessa Bourne. Dakota Kai was in the Battle Royale at Mania. She's the New Zealand girl who has the kind of brightly coloured.
I went
tights.
back to sandwich time.
So she's got a really cool finish. She beat Vanessa Bourne quite quickly. She's got like a flipping backstabber.
Flipping backstabber.
It's like a code breaker but with a flip in it. It's really cool.
Right.
As a finisher, she does lots of kicks. I like her.
Didn't watch it.
I've
been watching too much women's wrestling lately.
I
need to have a break.
So they did a thing where she beat Vanessa Bourne, and then Baszler came out and called her out and said, Baszler's first action was to separate Kai's shoulder before they did the whole...
Is she the one that's scared of her?
She's the one that's scared of her, yeah.
Right,
so that's going to be a thing. So I like how they've gone back to that storyline. And then they had an interaction backstage, and then randomly Nikki Cross was laughing. But Nikki Cross is the one getting the match at TakeOver, so... remains to be seen.
I thought she might get kept on NXT to get a title run. You know how Sanity have gone up?
Yeah.
But I don't think she'll beat her.
No, unless there's some... This is why they've got Dakota Kai in the storyline.
To shenanigans.
But I love Baszler. I think she's cool as out. It's great having a women's wrestler that's like a bully. It's like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool.
Cool indeed.
So, great match. The next one, War Raiders versus Heavy Machinery. Really short, but
Yeah, it showed a lot of what War Machine are capable of in a short space of time. And I'd just like to quickly mention how I think that name's shit, and I will always call them War Machine.
I wonder whether it was the thought it was too much of a comparison to War Machine in the Marvel universe.
Why do
Because War Machine's that weird other Iron Man costume, isn't it?
It's Iron Man's mate. Why do they change some people's names and then not others?
I think if it wasn't this Marvel thing and they were worried about copyright, that's the reason. Because the vast majority don't change now. Ricochet didn't change. EC3 didn't change.
But why did they change Kevin Owens? Doesn't make sense. Kevin Steen's perfectly normal name, isn't it?
I think he's the kind of guy that the name doesn't matter. And I think War Machine, War Raiders isn't going to matter.
Do you honestly think that's what it was? Worried about getting sued?
I think so.
Paying royalties out.
Yeah. So things I like, they do that pumping horns motion.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't understand. The only thing I didn't get was, right, they were playing up to the crowd quite a bit, but they're acting quite heely.
Yeah. Maybe they just haven't got the mix right.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're the type that don't need to be face or heel. They just
need to be monsters, don't they?
Kill people.
If you can go in and squish people like Heavy Machinery.
That was a big this is the new monsters. So they've got some Viking metal theme with lots of drums.
I like how they look like Vikings because I like Vikings.
Yeah, I think Rowe's an interesting one. He's not quite as big as Hansen, but he does things like no-sell punches, which makes him seem bigger than what he is. I think he's really good, that Rowe. Hansen's pushing 400 pounds. He's huge. He's like Killian Dane size, and he's doing
moonsaults and
stuff. And he did a tope dive through the him diving through the ropes on Otis Dosevich. That's some heavy
machinery.
Beefish.
He done it when I seen them against the Young Bucks at Defiant. He done a moonsault. Then I couldn't believe. I didn't know much about them at that point.
Insane. I like the fact that you've seen them just before as well. It was literally the last.
I wish
group
that
of shows.
I could have managed. They didn't hang around for photos afterwards. I would have wished I could have got a photo with them. But
not to miss out, Heavy Machinery. Otis Dosevich did an Exploder suplex on Hansen. That was extremely impressive. Show of strength. So they've got their finisher as an assisted leg drop, a lift up leg drop. That's pretty cool.
It's all around good, isn't it? I like a good machine.
If you've not seen this match, recommended viewing. Really short. Like I think Heavy Machinery, although they lost, they got a few. They got some of the offense, and I think
They always strike me as a tag team now that I'm never quite gonna get there. You know
I think
what I
they're
mean?
good wrestlers though.
Yeah.
And I think, but if you haven't seen this match, watch it. It was cool.
Do it.
Um,
Wait.
I think there was a lot of hype around it. You could feel that it was like people were excited. Street Profits did a promo where they were just running about in a basketball court, and
I must have missed this doing
Montez Ford was doing pull-ups on the basketball
Was he?
hoop, and they were just going, "We get the championship." Like I've been thinking about them. Like there's so much potential there because kids all communicate through that kind of like
Social media.
social media and like taking little videos and Snapchat, and it's all directed at that. They're like sky's the limit for them. Like, but yeah, it was fun.
Next New Day.
Next New Day. Yeah, it was fun. So last you had Champ at Ono.
I haven't seen this yet.
So it was.
I'm not really sure I want to know what happens.
Shall I not tell you the ending?
I'll
just tell you. Actually, we'll just talk about why Champ has mint.
Good.
So
is he still coming down the aisle with
no
music and
music.
just
It was
booing?
awesome. So they did this with Dolph Ziggler. It didn't really work because people didn't want to boo him. But like there was like you could hear the anger. You can rarely hear it does because it never really translates from television.
Yeah, they hate
but
it,
you
don't
could
they?
hear it. You could feel it coming through the telly. He just had that look in his eyes. He was like gesticulating the crowd, really like kind of nonchalantly to boo more. He had that mad black eye.
Yeah.
Like he just looked like a crazy
person.
He's obviously got himself in fantastic shape. He wears that
looks
weird
great.
like kind of
Coat thing.
it's almost steampunky.
He looks awesome at the minute. Like, would you boo him? I like him too much. Just
I'd boo him just because it's like I want this act to work. So I would do what they wanted us to do.
do you think it would work on a grander stage?
It's that storyline that's turned him into that. though. He goes on the main roster. You don't have that.
Yeah.
So he has to now. What the Gargano thing has to finish. I think it will finish at Takeover. They're having a street fight. Because obviously Champ has put him out again.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a street fight at Takeover. I think that needs to be the end.
Right.
And then but then he needs to find this heel heat.
You know how I would finish it?
How?
I would get. It needs to end with a title match. Somewhere down the line.
Who picks up the title?
Somebody picks up the title.
Could it be either?
It could be either of them, and it needs to end. It's got to end with Johnny Gargano winning the championship.
Yeah, I think
for
so.
me. I would maybe Ciampa wins the belt, maybe because he's heel up against Black, and then like somewhere down.
So
the
could
line.
you do this? They have the match, the street fight. Ciampa wins the street fight because Gargano won the initial match. And then you have a break. Where they don't interact on telly, they're both doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Then they have the title match, and then they bring it back after a break. So people get burned out after the street fight. They have a break, and then they bring it back because
they could do that though. They could do
as
like
soon as they look at each other in the ring, people are going to know
They could
again.
do like a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn fight forever sort of thing.
Yeah,
couldn't they, with
yeah.
these two, and it could go on the main roster like forever.
Yeah. I would worry that there's not enough translation over from NXT to the main roster for it to be as big. And Vince will be like, nobody knows who these guys are. Because obviously, all he cares about is what you... So, he doesn't care what we think. He cares what, like, the 12-year-old thinks.
Yeah.
Or the 25-year-old who only gets WrestleMania. That's the only people he cares about.
That's why Triple H needs to take over soon.
So, Ciampa did a few little things in this that even increased his heelness. He like hid behind the ref, and then like blindsided Ono and stuff like this. Great match. Obviously, I'll not go too much into it because you've not seen it. Watch it. It was as hard hitting as you would think it would be. Cool.
Done with NXT?
That was there next. Yep.
I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. One being Jericho's back in Japan.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Did you watch it?
I did. Obviously blood happened, so I was happy. I thought Naito's blade job was more impactful than Omega's.
Yeah.
It was like a proper gusher. I thought the attack was more vicious than the Omega attack.
Yeah.
I think Naito's like crazy.
Oh, definitely.
So I think it comes across as like he's not bothered by this attack, which makes it more like interesting.
I'd like to see Jericho maybe pick up a win in Japan.
I think
And
you
another
know
IC
what? I don't
title
know whether
win.
we're talking about it on here, but I think that they might go with the I'm 11-time IC champion
Yeah.
or whatever it is. He has another one.
Yeah.
I think that's what they might do.
I
think
so.
that's why Naito. I think Naito
Won the belt for that.
and I think Naito will eventually get the
Belt back.
the world the IWGP heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I think we've talked about
But then we've got Omega. Omega Okada 4. And like, does it bury Omega if he doesn't win this one?
the only thing I can think
Does
of
he
that
have a
might happen
place?
in this is there might be shenanigans by Cody, which could potentially lead to Cody versus Okada.
Do you think do you think we'll get the Cody Omega match in New Japan eventually? Because they've done it in Ring of Honor, haven't they?
It's got to come at Wrestle Kingdom, surely, hasn't it?
Do you think they could make it burn on for that long?
Possibly.
Bullet Club's still messy for me. I
It's
don't
too
really
messy.
want to talk about it.
For me, they should just have. I think the Bucks should just be the leader of Bullet Club or Tamatonga.
Well, you've got the OG, haven't you?
Mhm.
Like Farley, Tonga. It's an interesting one. They've brought they brought the guy from Noah in.
Yeah, what's he called again? He was Bone Soldier, wasn't he?
Yeah, but like not the shit old Bone Soldier. Like
yeah, he was a good one. What's he called again?
I don't know.
Ishimori?
Ishimori.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's meant to be a top guy, so
So we'll see what happens there.
so
Bullet
he's
Club
probably
is
in,
messy.
he's probably into Wrestle Ospreay.
But the thingy started again being the elite, so maybe it'll all end it all in.
So
Because all
I think it is messy, but it's not messy because of being the elite still a show. So those guys are still working together to produce this show.
But All In's in September and Wrestle Kingdom's in September, so it could all end
In September.
in September.
And that's not too long ago.
It's not really that long
Really?
away when you think about it.
You can stretch the storyline out between now and then.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Japan's exciting
What did
at
you
the
think
minute.
about All In selling out in half an hour?
It's cool, and I get the way they've marketed it, but I did like how someone put on the internet long after their Progress and ICW were both sold out 10,000 CS
But like I was
arenas.
saying the other night, I don't think they're doing it on numbers, not like biggest on numbers, but definitely biggest on who's involved with it. I mean,
Well-
Rey Mysterio's in it now.
Kenny Omega's probably
Okada,
top 4 or 5 wrestlers in the world. Okada,
all of Bullet Club.
yeah. It's as pretty much as like personnel wise as big as you can get outside of WWE.
Definitely. I'd like to think that
I'd like to see an all-in British tour,
some sort of TV special.
because I think we would both be all in if they did a
I'd
British
be
tour.
all over that.
Newcastle Arena, all in.
Or
We'd
even
be
just
all
a
in.
smaller venue, like can't think of anywhere. That would be the O2, wouldn't it? The Academy.
Yeah, that wouldn't be big enough,
Nah.
but we'd definitely be all in. So yeah,
They're my thoughts.
wrestling's exciting.
So I thought
As
a
always.
lot about North Wrestling. Ooh, do you want to play me a game?
Oh yeah, you said you've got a game.
I don't know how to do it, right? So I've got
Great planning.
Dave's been thinking about a wrestler a lot this week, or a tag team, or a wrestling person. Could
Like
be a
a kinda-
manager, right?
right.
Could be a tag team. Could be a
Is it like a 10 questions?
Yeah, you can ask me 10. I
Right.
don't know whether 5.
10.
Should we do 5?
10.
10.
10 questions.
And I'm only allowed to say yes or no. And if you get it right, I'll tell you why. I've been thinking about them a lot.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I've just given it away, haven't I? Them, him, her,
Them.
her, him. Could be any. I'm just
Right,
saying
I'll
words.
ask you a question.
I'm just saying words that come
Is
out of
it
my mouth.
male?
Yes.
Is it a tag team?
Yes.
Right, there's 2. Do they wrestle predominantly in Japan?
No. Are you getting 10 or 5?
10.
This is a good feature, this. Dave's 10 questions.
Do they... But no, because I'll spend time thinking and that's bad
I'll just fill.
radio.
I'll do some filling.
Do they wrestle in the WWE system?
No.
Ooh.
They most definitely do not.
So they wrestle predominantly outside of Japan? That's not a question because I've already asked you whether.
Predominantly outside of Japan, yeah.
So that's still just 4 questions or 5.
You tricked us. You did a cheat there.
Is it? What is it? What questions am I on?
4, 5.
5, right? 5. Okay, so I've got 5 left. Are they being linked with WWE in terms of being signed?
No.
Is it the Young Bucks?
No.
Because they probably still do most of their business outside of.
No, it's not them.
I've always been terrible at this game.
It's not them.
Yeah, I know it's not them because you just said it's not them.
Play along at home.
Oh, piss.
Winship.
Piping up. Almost speaking. Can I give up?
I was not thinking of Winship.
Can I give up? Can I give up?
No, you've got 3 questions there.
So
I told you 5 questions would have been better.
So I'll have to do it in 5 and then you can speak. And then I'll be proper like cool dude if I get one under 5.
Think about things we've done recently. Things that we've done.
Things that we've done.
I'll give you a hint and a tip there.
North Wrestling, Defiant.
Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to have to say yes or no if that's
Defiant.
one of your questions.
Defiant. Have we... Right, so how many questions we're up to?
You've got 3 left.
Have we seen them recently?
Yes.
That makes us
that
look...
was rubbish.
That makes it look stupid.
Why didn't you say, have we seen them in North or Defiant? Well, I've got... One of the 2.
You're
never going to get this.
Hang on, you've got 1. I've got 2. Have we seen them at North?
Yes.
Right. So, is it the Sons of Ulid?
No.
Tag team?
Yeah.
Right. Who is it?
England's Hardest Man.
Right.
And now I'm not going to tell you why I've been thinking about them.
No, tell us why you've been thinking about them.
Well, that's the game.
Well,
you
no,
don't find out.
But this is... You're penalising our listener.
But you know why I've been thinking about them a lot this week?
Why?
Because I really, really like them, and I like the music that they get. Na 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 na. England's hardest man, England's hardest man.
That one.
It's been in my head for a week. It's been in a head, not a week. How long has it been since Saturday?
Like 3 days or something.
Yeah, it's been in a loop in my head for about 3 days, and I think I might start cracking up a little bit.
Earworm.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that's why Dave's been thinking about England's hardest man.
Ooh, I'm hard. I think we should play that game. We should make that a feature because I get really stressed by it and it'll be humorous. So we also, using my field mic, had a conversation with...
I wonder if Winship was screaming. He'll be screaming at the podcast.
He won't be. He's never screamed in his life.
He'll be saying nothing really.
No, he'll be saying no things. So we also had a conversation using the field mic with some of the ladies from our workplace about wrestlers' pants. So I'm going to insert that here. It's not at all. That's wrong. This is for field recording.
This is why he's looking at it and wrestlers has big pants and they're talking to each other.
Pants. Glenda's obsessed with wrestlers' pants.
Big pants.
I'm going to show you some wrestlers in pants.
I want to see some today.
Like trousers though, not pants.
No.
I just don't know how you could perform wrestling in trousers.
So he wears trousers. Kenny Omega wears trousers. Look, he's got trousers.
But quite a lot of wrestlers wear trousers, but they're tight. Some wrestlers actually wrestle in pants though. Dean Ambrose wears jeans, but are they not like jeggings?
Possibly.
What a femme thing for a dude to wear. Jegs.
Yeah, let's have a look.
I've got a feeling this microphone's not going to pick up your voice very well, Beth.
Why? What's the matter with my voice?
It's quite delicate.
She gets very overly enthusiastic when she sees something she can't quite believe, so she'll probably go,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
look,
Okay.
he wears jeans to wrestle in.
What do you think?
How can that be flexible?
What? Well, there must be
He's not going to have his full range of movement.
That's the one that Helen Gray likes.
I bet he's got massive pants underneath though.
Yeah, Helen Gray likes him.
How do you feel about this, Glenda? Right?
To look at him or
Yeah, I think to look at him as well.
Fancy him a bit.
Let me see him.
Out of the Shield as well, he's the least attractive one out of the 3 guys.
Roman
Let me
Reigns
see.
wears pants, doesn't he?
Roman Reigns wears like combat pants.
Yeah, he looks like Billy Bob.
He's not very.
Who's Billy Bob?
Billy
Billy Bob.
Bob Thornton, no, just a generic Billy Bob.
He looks like a generic Billy Bob.
Who else wears interesting pants?
Like a cotton picking.
Like Roman Reigns' pants are like
Combat pants?
combat pants. Combat pants are like quite. They'll be hard. They're not maneuverable. Combat
What
pants.
actually are big pants? Or they're just like
Well,
long
shall I
ones?
show you the
Or are they like
pants?
padded
What
ones?
actually are big pants?
Like huge, big.
Do they wear them so that
Wide
they can
fronts.
do? They do give each other wedgies, don't they?
No.
Ah.
Maybe occasionally
Any sort of pants.
in a combat situation, you wouldn't give someone a wedgie.
You wouldn't.
No.
So
Here's-
that's the
here's
guy
the
that
thing.
Glenn said before had big pants.
Wait, are they big pants?
They're tight
Yeah,
pants.
They're massive.
No, he's got big legs. They're just big
They're
legs.
tiny pants. They're like
big.
pants.
Big pants.
They're big legs, so the pants look big, but they're actually tight pants.
I think they're tight pants.
The big tight pants.
Pants.
Pants. Big tight pants.
Can I ask Glenda a question, right?
I never
So
thought about that.
there's people online, right? You know how we're like pretty like happy-go-lucky about wrestling and have a laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
There's people online that proper get angry about things to do with wrestling, don't they? They like get really angry. How do you feel about those guys?
I don't get it.
Do you like his combat pants?
Do you like his
He's,
pants?
he's completely coloured in.
Sure.
That's what I needed
Yeah,
to do
with ink.
yesterday when I got a massive hole in my trousers. At
Who is it?
Paris.
Who is
that
it?
what was wrong with you yesterday?
Dave, who is it?
Roman Reigns.
Show me him.
It wasn't good.
I thought you meant he was coloured in like his skin.
He's coloured in here. He is coloured in his skin.
Oh, you mean he's got a tattoo? You mean he's got a tattoo? You mean he's got a tattoo?
Yeah, but a really coloured in one.
This looks like a white man coloured in. I'm going to put this on the internet, by the way.
You know.
What?
I've already got the one of Glenda's soundbite yesterday.
What was that?
She said something like it's fucking stupid or something like that.
I just don't get it. Grown men watching wrestling. And then do you know what?
I'm not a grown
Do you know what's
man.
even worse?
I'm a-
Dave actually admitted that he collects wrestling figures.
No, Jake does.
No, you do. You buy them for you, but you pretend for
Who
Jake.
else wears good pants?
No, you can't change the subject, Dave. We're talking about
So
your collection.
my favourite wrestler at the minute, Spike Trivia, wrestles in a full suit.
Like,
Like a full suit. He's like a nasty Tory man, and he wrestles in a full suit.
I remember giant haystacks when I used to go watching the grandmas on a Saturday.
And I bet you they were like.
He wore pants that were attached to his shoulders, weren't they? Like jungle.
I bet you they were like really nice memories of you being at your grands when you were little, watching World of Sport and giant haystacks.
It was like BBC Grandstand or something.
I think we should end this.
I do too.
Oh, that was a fun conversation,
Nice
wasn't it?
pants talk.
Nice chat about pants.
Wow, that was good.
Um,
I've got a poem. Do you want to hear it?
yes.
It's about the hardcore match that I seen at North Wrestling.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh. Fighting in the streets. Fighting with a chair. Fighting with sharp things pulling at hair. Fighting by the river. Fighting by fists. Fighting with thumbtacks. Taking lots of risks. Fighting for honour. Fighting for the fans. Fighting for us guys whilst we drink red striped cans.
That was amazing, and I think it was kind of you were like leaning towards a Welsh accent for it.
I don't even know why that came out. I had
Ooh,
not
Trevor.
planned that. Oh, Trevor.
You know what I remember thinking during that match when they went to brawl outside? I was like, what a beautiful day when we came.
It was a nice day for it, because usually when they do that, and we've been to them before and they've done that, it's been cold and dark outside. You got anyone you would like to put into the you haven't got any charity shop this week, have you? That feature only happened once.
No, it was scheduled to happen today, but what happened is I left me things in the house that I was going to discuss, so it can't happen today. But I've come up with a better title for it: WrestleThoughts.
Thrifts.
To add in the other wrestle-based wrestle poems and WrestleFriends.
What can I call my new game? Dave's wrestle
frustrate Mark
thing
game.
So who do you want to put in the Eelies?
So what about we talked quite a lot about wrestlers who don't wear socks when they've got
Yeah,
loafers on.
sockless wrestlers need to go in the Ely Hall of Fame. Oh, it's sockless people. Actually.
Sockless people.
Anyone. Winship, I want you to wear no socks though next time.
Do I? So I wear trainer socks quite often. That
Trainer socks are cool.
Like it looks like I don't have trainer socks on. So
I
how
wear
do?
trainer socks.
But how do you know that Ricochet didn't have trainer socks on?
You could tell. You had loafers that went like the tongue went all the way down, so like you knew. Like trainer socks go a little bit up, don't they?
Yeah, you can see like.
See, I wear trainer socks
The
for the
tip.
gym because like you don't want to have socks
You
pulled
don't
all
have
the way
massive
up here.
white socks like
Uh-huh.
a gimp.
So
So wrestlers who wear loafers with no socks in promos.
yep. Bye.
Yeah.
That's the end of today's podcast. I think
It was a nice
it's a nice thing.
little conversation about the old wrestling
It
again.
was. If you want to get in touch with the show, feel free. It what is it again? WrestleFriends podcast at yahoo.com, and all of the social medias apart from the ones I don't check.
Mainly use Facebook because we find that we have the most interactions with people on Facebook.
That's it.
Bye.
Double C is over.
No, he hasn't.